right. Hey, it's Jennifer here from Belladonna's Botanicals, and um this is some, I guess, more in the channeled messages aspect, but this kind of skirts in a whole bunch of areas. So this is Azlyn and Ashtaroth on Deicide, which sounds like an awesome, like operatic death metal kind of band, but or like thing. But anyways, that aside. So Azlyn is of the Dukante hierarchy. And I want to talk a little bit about Ashtaroth and Azlyn first before I get into the message, just for some contextual things. So Azlyn, Azlyn, is associated with divination, empathy, and intuition. She was a more recent addition to the Dukante hierarchy. Her N is Rayon Par Tassa Azlyn IR. She's a spirit of divination and intuition. And yeah, I'm just kind of looking over some of the notes that S. Conley has on her. And yeah, this is a more recent one, so it wasn't in the initial I think Dukante hierarchy. It was added maybe within the past 25 years. More recent. But she has a strong divination vibration and works really well with Ashtaroth, but she's sort of like a kinder and more gentle Tiamat, that kind of chaotic draconic dragon energy, where Ashtaroth is a bit calmer. Azlyn can be a little more unpredictable. So it's kind of thinking of them in terms in elemental like fire and water. So I decided to work with them together, just kind of on an open, like, hey, let's do some divination. What's going on? So in the Dukante hierarchy, also to mention Ashtaroth. So it's spelled a little bit different. So there's Astarte, which was Ashtaroth, the Goetic demon, was sort of demonized from Astarte. But within a Dukante hierarchy, we have Ashtaroth, which is spelled ASH instead of AST. And then there's also Ashtaroth, which is like the male. So Ashtaroth would be the female, and male would be the Ashtaroth. So that's just kind of a little bit on. And they're also like Ashtaroth is more on the divination side. Yeah. And Ashtaroth would be the male, but I was working with Azlyn and Ashtaroth or Ashtaroth. So on Deicide. So, and in this, I work again, I work a lot in ascension mode when I'm doing like channeling and communications, deep meditation on things. It's a little different than, say, like astral travel and working in the astral realms. It's adjacent. It's just sort of like going directly and working within the demonic realm. And that application can be used for working with any type of spirits, if you work with angelic, that sort of thing. So both appeared as sort of these like ghostly kind of floating, kind of disembodied, semi-translucent apparitions, almost with like digital features, like static, like old school. You remember like the old school television static, like interference and broadcasts, kind of like that. It was a very interesting merging of like digital and analog technologies with sort of the spirit realm. So what they went on to say in this is, so on the topic of Deicide, is God has died, is dead, is dying, and will be dying. Time is not the same, slow and fast at the same time, present past, future present, past future. Towards the new aeon, all as one, all as God, not one, but many. The hierarchy stabilizes to form balance, neither above nor below. All as is, as it should be. Will you die for him? Whispers yes. She who dies for the one dies for the all. To lay down your life to save another saves the world as all. Every prayer, every offering, every petition, every spell, every ritual gives us strength. As our strength grows, the slave god, war gods, death throes bellow throughout the universe. Thus spoke the demiurge. When a new aeon arises, the soul sorting machine divides out those that, when given the chance, always choose the wrong side of history. Incarnation after incarnation, the inquisitions, genocides, enslavement, Yahtzee sympathizers and supporters, lifetime after lifetime, some never get it right or atone, always choosing the wrong side in every battle. The machine separates and sorts out the redeemable aspects and energies and sorts the rest into some cosmic chaff at the bottom of the abyss. Okay, so not the longest message or that I've gotten, but I feel like I might continue to work with them on some more divination type things and big picture stuff. But what I was getting through this, through the visuals, through the feeling, is like, especially the part where it's every prayer, every offering, every petition, every spell, every ritual gives us strength. So speaking as the collective whole of the spirit world, I guess, like all gods, goddesses, deities, demons, angels, everything. That it's I've always got this feeling, and this goes back decades at this point for me, is like, and I always joke, I wrote a book of prophecy 25 years ago on a LARF to prove that prophecy is bullshit. My bad. I got a lot right, and I wish I didn't. Anywho, but one of the things I wrote about in a more positive aspect there was, maybe not in this particular detail, but it was like the rise of the old gods coming back and the changes and transformation once, like they say, we're talking about deicide here. It is what it is. The slave god, the war god, that energy, that something is shifting in the spirit world. They mentioned something about the demiurge, and I know that I'm trying to think of a good way to describe it, because I'm not as familiar with it. I know it comes from, what's it, Gnosticism. It's sort of like the old god died, and the demiurge is the god that took over, and that's like the war god, slave god kind of thing, all the chaos and whatnot that has ensued. Seems legit, but that's what I'm feeling in this message, is that the spirit world is shifting in some way to kind of restore the balance. Yeah, that's what it feels like. 'Cause I was talking to someone recently, like one of the ways, like spirits, I always say, and I've probably said this in probably hundreds of videos at this point, spirits, when you're working with spirits, especially when they're communicating with you, it's not always going to be the booming voice, in the room. It's sometimes it's like you just get these like flashes of things. So like I'll get like a quote from something, or a snippet from a song, or a part of a movie, or a part of something. But all these things are kind of telling the story. They're just kind of plucking what makes the most sense from my visual frame of reference and my lived experiences. So the quote that just kind of pulled all this together was from one of my favorite TV shows, Babylon 5. And I think it was based on a Carl Sagan quote, maybe. Don't quote me on it, but it's something to the extent of, we are the universe made manifest, trying to understand itself. And I think kind of that's, if we're looking at that, is we are part of spirit, and the spirit is part of us. And it's all this kind of, I don't even know how to, I can see it in my mind. I just can't kind of figure out how to structurally loop it together, but just take the sort of infinity symbol. It's all connected in that way, kind of. We are of spirit, spirit is of us, and through us, spirit understands itself and the universe, maybe. And we understand ourself and the universe through spirit. But all I know is that as a former atheist and agnostic, once you accept spirit into your life and start working with spirit, it is a very real thing. And I I don't know that I could go back to being an atheist. I'd be like, nope, there's nothing out there. Yeah, no, I don't think so. But anyways, maybe God's dying, dead. It has been. I think what the way they're saying this is not something new that's happened. Time in the spirit world is not the same. That's why sometimes when you do magic stuff, they're like, I need something by XYZ day. Um, you're kind of working with entities that are sort of beyond that. So, and time works differently um in that sense. So, yeah, that's kind of a short message, but I like to share these. 'Cause this is how we learn, and how unverified personal gnosis sometimes becomes verified personal gnosis, because if we're all getting similar messages, that kind of we might be getting them in our own ways, that kind of play upon what, like I said, our visual frame of reference and lived experiences. So when we're getting these kinds of messages, I like to share them as much as I can. um yeah, it's very rarely that they're not like, don't share this. Or sometimes if something is really personal to me, I'll leave out a very specific identifying detail. um so yeah, anyways, let me know what you think. Drop a comment below. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Be sure to follow us on social media. Not that you'll see anything because algorithms suck, but sign up for e-newsletter so you know what's going on. And yeah, I will be back with more videos soon. Love y'all. Bye.